somewhere else.
Hey, what's going on? We won't have to do what somewhere else. Hey, what's going on, everyone? No, you can do school right here. Hey, what's going on, everyone? It's Kim and the SAV, Kim out of Savannah, Georgia, of BetterBodyCrew.com. And guys, it is, I shouldn't say the day, but I am going to anyway. It's Friday. Getting ready for a fun Friday. Let me adjust Facebook right here, right quick. Okay, good thing I moisturized. Had my palm all in the camera. Hey, what's going on, Tania? What's going on, everyone? Long time no see. Been a lot going on with your girl. And today what I want to do is talk to you guys about a great... Hey, what's going on, Joe Mo? How are you? What's going on, everybody? Today, really quickly, before our celebration Zoom, I wanted to talk to you about a great experience this week that I had with my little one. And do me a favor, son. Close the laundry room door, please. Hey. Yeah, I got everybody in our business. So, not going to be long because I don't have a lot of memory in my phone. But I wanted to talk to you about a really great experience. Please stop jumping. You're making me nervous. That I had with my son this week. So, guys, listen. You know, I tell you everything. The good, the bad, the ugly, everything in between. And along my journey, there's been a lot of highs. There's been a lot of lows. And one of my lowest lows was, I don't remember the year, but my son recently turned 11. What?
2001?
No. Don't try to guess the year. You just worry about school.
Okay.
I don't remember the year, but basically, my son is 11 right now. And when he was born, during that time, I was going through a really big Dave Ramsey ramp. You know, I was just like obsessed with Dave Ramsey, okay? And I always knew I wanted to become more financially literate, and I didn't want my son to make the same mistakes that I was making. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna start an account with him at the credit union that I'm at. And at that time, they allowed like it was called a Cub account. And so I started an account for him, was putting a little bit of money in there, but honestly, I didn't even have enough money in my own savings account. So I was putting just a little something there just to feel proud. And then I started losing my job. When did I lose the first? I've lost so many jobs. I've lost so many jobs. I lost count. But anyway, I started losing a bunch of jobs. And so it got really, really bad when there was one job that I guess you could say I was kind of like a whistleblower. And I had this boss that, you know, we were great until we weren't. And things got really bad really, really quickly. And after that job, I really felt like I was blackballed in the education sector because, ironically enough, despite my stellar resume and being bilingual and like I had one of those resumes that people were like, I can't believe you're unemployed. And it's just like, well, you stop saying that. I can't believe I'm unemployed either. But I still could not get a job in education. So it's a long story. I've told some parts of it. But anywho, things got really, really bad. And it was a good thing that I was on Dave Ramsey because I had paid down so much debt. And when I lost my job and then I was putting in so many applications, y'all. And I'm like, this is Atlanta. This is the Black Mecca. I should be able to get a job, but I wasn't. And I got to the point where I had to live on credit cards until I couldn't live on credit cards anymore. So then I had to, you know, my bank account is drained. I'm living on credit cards until I max them out and they go to collections. And I remember taking money out of my son's account that I put aside from him. And I'm talking about, it wasn't a lot of money to begin with, but taking money out for food. Okay, that's how, like, basic necessities. I didn't have money for that. And I remember just feeling like the lowest of the low. I was like, oh my gosh, I have a master's degree. I have this son. You know, I'm not a teen mother. I had enough time in my life to get my ish together. So I felt like, you know, if teen mothers are out here doing it, it made me feel bad for me to be in my 30s and be in that position. And that bank account, I had been in good standing with them. I had an account with them, I had his account with them, and I had a credit card with them. So when my credit card with them maxed out, they shut down all the bank accounts. And so I pulled the money out of his account right before they did that. And like I said, I always felt really, really bad about that. Horrible. Just like the worst mother, parent ever. And so what is monumental about this week is that, well, y'all know my son's birthday was recently. And so he got a lot of money. So from y'all, thank y'all. Like some of y'all zelled me some money and said, this is for your son. And I was just like, oh my gosh, the law of sowing and reaping is wonderful, honey. But the juice is gone. The juice is gone. What's going on, Nina Maxwell? So my son got some money for Christmas, but he also got a lot of toys. So I was like, what is he going to do with this money? Now, y'all know I'm from the South. My family is like, where's baby's money? And I'm like, he has his money. So he has a little Batman wallet. He had his money in there. It was a good bit of money now. And so my family's like, you let him go with his money? But you didn't take it from, because y'all know in the South, when you get money, they take it from you. Hey, I keep safekeeping, put it in their bra until they put it wherever they put it, but it's not your money. It's their money until they deem that you can handle it, right? You might get like $5, but like walking around with hundreds of dollars, and you know, should I let him walk around with a whole lot of money? No, but I kind of did it as a test, just for a moment, and he didn't really walk around with it, but it was in his possession. So I said, I'm gonna see what he's gonna do with it. I'm gonna see if when he goes to his dad for this 2 weeks, if he comes back with a whole nother toy, or if he comes back with the money that he left with. Y'all, I'm proud to say my baby came back not only with the money that he left with, but with more. I was like, yes, okay, son, I see what you're doing. And he was not like he was going to spend that money either. I said, well, what are you going to do with it? So he said he wants to get into cryptocurrency. So we started watching Crypto Kid on YouTube, and he's learning about the blockchain. Crypto Coin Kid, yeah, and he's learning about the blockchain and all these different things. So I was like, okay, he's really serious. And I told him, I said, well, why don't we open up a bank account for you? And so he was like, yes, I want to do that. And so this week we had an appointment to open up a bank account. And when I say on the day of, he woke up that morning. When I say this boy was so happy, he woke up that morning and was like, can we go to the bank now? I'm like, you have school. You know, the appointment is after the bank account, because the bank person was saying, well, you know, you don't really need him to open up a bank account. I said, I understand, but I'm bringing him, even though he won't be signing anything, I'm bringing him because I want him to be a part of this conversation. I want him to see how things play out, right? And so he went, he had his little coins together. He had his dollars in his Batman wallet. You know, the banks now are really closed. You have to have an appointment. Hey, what's going on, Kev? You have to have an appointment to go in. And so we went in and sat down, and he was a part of the conversation. They asked him, do you have any questions? He's like, am I going to get a card? They were like, well, no, this is a savings account, not a checking account. And so he asked a lot of really, really good questions. And, you know, they gave him the folder with all the information and all the you know, just basically talk to the both of us instead of only talking to him. And he was taking it all in. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And this is a bank that I have a relationship with. So, you know, my banker was asking me about some things, and I was letting her know, hey, I'll be going for business funding soon, and I want to strengthen my relationship with this bank. So we had some conversations, and my son has been privy to some of the business funding recordings that I have been listening to. So he knew about it too, and he knows that we are in a period right now of building a lot of relationships with a lot of banks. People say, how many banks? As many as possible, y'all. There's a lot of banks out there. Your regional banks and your your local credit unions, a lot of them have deep pockets and they're very generous. So build relationships with as many banks as possible. We got another credit union opening up on the corner on February 1st, and we're going to build a relationship there, myself and my son. And then, you know, I told you guys about this year, my tax person told me about putting him on payroll. So that's where his money is going to go, in that bank account. And and so when he put his money in, I basically transferred a very substantial portion of my account to his account to make up for all those years that, you know, from the time that he was a baby and I had to take that money out just to survive up until now, like I said, that's always been something that lingered over my head and that I was embarrassed about. And basically I made up for it. And when I say the look on his face when he saw his deposit plus my deposit plus his total deposit, he was like, oh my gosh, mommy, this is a goal I thought I wouldn't hit for many, many years, and da-da-da-da-da. And it made me feel so, so happy to make that up to him. Because because that money was his. It should have been there all along. And I'm just telling you guys that when I talk to you about time, freedom, and making money and things of that nature, it's not just for you. It's for your kids too. More importantly, it's for your kids. If you are comfortability should not be the goal. Okay? You go to the bank, and I was telling my grandmother this when she was like, you let baby walk around with all that money? I said, Granny, do you understand that when I went to college, I had no financial literacy at all. Every time I got money, it was taken from me because I wasn't, y'all didn't think of me as being able to manage money. So I was never able to manage money. So here I am, 18 and thrown to the wolves, thrown to the world. And I've never really had money because every time I got money, it was taken away. And you know, and then when I got a job, every time I got money, I had obligations, right? And so I don't want my son to be like that, but at the same time, I don't want to take it away from him. I want him to make the decision that I need to put my money in the bank. And y'all know what's funny? When he had his wallet, he actually lost his money in the house. He's like, I can't find my wallet. I said, well, the good thing is we know it's here in the house. But he found it literally the day before we went to the bank. And I told him, see, this is why you want to put your money in the bank. Because you don't want to, if you lose cash, you just lose cash. But if you put your money in the bank, then you have a bank account. And if you have a card. And so I'm explaining all of this to my son. And these were conversations that I never had, that no one ever had with me. Because there was no time and because they didn't know how. And my son literally asked me about that. He was like, you know, who taught you about money? And I basically told him I had to teach myself. And he was like, what? And I said, this is why we're having those conversations, son. And I want you all to have those conversations with your children too. Your children shouldn't start where you started. They should start where you leave off. And you should leave off in a much better place than you started. So, oh, you gotta go? I'm making too much noise? I'm sorry. Okay. But I'm a bad homeschooling mommy. But no, I was so happy that he got his bank account. That's one of many bank accounts that he will have. And we're going to, I'm going to have to trade the cryptocurrency for him. But that's something that we're going to get into, as well as stocks. Like I said, every single penny that he had, he saved. I put a good little bit with that money, and we're having these conversations, and every single time I open up an account for him, he will be privy to those conversations as well. Tania said, yes, very important to have with your kids. It's super important, guys, and it's not too early. These kids are learning about stuff online anyway. They're so much more advanced than what you give them credit for. So have the conversation with them as early as possible. I have friends that have like companies, and they're pulling down $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 not a year, a month, or a week in some instances. Their kids are at that conversation. They're having those conversations with them. They're privy to some business conversations. And that's why their kids are so much further ahead than the average child. Diamond, oh, you said love our little kiddo. You saw him. I'll tell him, Diamond. But yeah, so I was super happy about that. He was beyond ecstatic. The next day he was like, can I see my account and your account? Because he was like, I just feel like, you know, I like to see my money. And so I told him, and let me tell y'all this too. I told him, I said, well, what we can do is we can take $20 out and get 21s, and you can spread that out and make you feel like you have a lot of money. He was like, that might work. And then I told him another trick that my mentor told me. I said, now son, let me tell you something. And guys, a lot of stuff with abundance and success is rooted in a feeling. The unseen is so much greater than the seen. So it's rooted in a feeling. So I was telling him, I said, son, now what I want you to understand is the fact of this. The money that you have in this account, just understand what all it can buy. Don't worry about actually buying it. And a mentor told me this, and I was like, oh my gosh, that sounds kind of crazy. But it works, y'all. So like, say you get a big, huge lump sum of money, or you just work hard and you make your money multiply, right? You don't have to go and spend that money on all of these things. Because the feeling that you get once you acquire the thing, whatever your retail therapy is, or whatever the case is, that feeling is very short-lived, right? And now you're like, let me order something else from Amazon, right? So you can get that feeling just by window shopping and knowing, especially if you have, like Holton Bug said, at least have a few $100 bills in your pocket. but don't spend them. But just the feeling of knowing I can buy that, I can buy that, I can buy that, ooh, I can buy that too, I can buy that too. Just that feeling alone is going to satisfy you if you really tap into your emotions. So I was telling my son that. I said, now you have this money in your bank account. You don't have to go spend it. Just the knowledge that you can buy all of these different things. I said, when you see something online, you see something on Amazon, son, look at how many things you can buy with the money that's in your bank account. And so for like the last 48 hours, he's like, ooh, I can buy that too. I can buy that too. And I see as he does that his little chest is puffing up like, yeah, I got money in the bank. I can buy that. I can buy that. I can buy. I'm like, yes, you got more money in the bank than some adults. That's what's up, son. Most adults don't even have a savings account, especially in these times. And so I'm just having these conversations with him and talking to him about that, because that's a conversation that oftentimes we have way too late. It's like when our kids are largely in debt and we like, how you let that happen? What do you mean how I let that happen? You never told me. How to prevent it from happening. So I encourage you all to, number one, be an example for your child. Number two, involve your child in the conversation. And number three, don't wait. Have the conversation early. Establish as many relationships with banks, credit unions, especially your local banks and your credit unions. Y'all, you got to get this knowledge. Oh my gosh. Establish those relationships. Bring your children into the fold with a conversation and keep the conversation going. As you educate yourself, don't do it in a silo alone. No, involve that child. Okay? They're paying attention. They're listening. They're looking at you and they're learning. They're either going to learn bad habits or good habits. What's your preference? What's your preference, baby? So anyway, I am so glad that I made right. Y'all had your water? I'm so glad that I made right on my wrong not today, this week. And my son is beyond ecstatic. He got his little paperwork. And again, that's just one of many, many banks that I'm going to get him a relationship with early on. I encourage you to do the same, and I will talk to y'all later. Tell me below, do you have a bank account for your child? Have you ever thought about opening one? Yeah, and how many relationships with banks do you have? If it's just one, I strongly encourage you to change that. Please, please, please. And that's it. Yeah, let me know. All right, Nina, thank you for the hearts and the likes. I see y'all making comments. Thank you for everybody who's making comments, because I want us to have this conversation in 2021. 2020 was an eye-opener for many of us. I hope you guys are paying attention and doing some things to change going forward. I will definitely be talking to you about what I'm doing, so stay tuned. Bye.